we've got a parent I'm very excited to introduce you all to. Her name is Sally, and Sally is coming at us to share her perspective as a parent. She also has been a reverend or minister. You're going to correct me on the right title, but Sally has been a loving parent and saw the call to action for this event and wanted to speak. And I'm so grateful to Sally for being willing to do that. As a good facilitator, I checked in with Sally of, is your kiddo okay with you sharing about them in these ways? And that was all good to go. So Sally's going to share in ways that they've already discussed and feel good about. So Sally, feel free to share anything else you want folks to know about you and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Elliot. I am so excited about being part of this incredible day. I've been tuned in since 10 a.m. my time, and I'm just honored to be in the company of such really amazing panelists and the hosts. You've been amazing today. So happy Pride, everyone. And unlike some of the people who, are doing this by heart, I'm doing it by script. So don't mind my eyes as they glance over at a page. But let me just say, yes, I am an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ. Reverend was fine, but I am retired. I was a hospital chaplain for many years, very happily so. And happily so, the mother of a trans man who transitioned about 13 years ago. I'd like to share a bit about my process of his transition. He made clear, be respectful and don't tell my story. I said, no, I'm telling my story. But I hope that it's encouragement for those of you who may be in the midst of transitions, profound movement to truth and authenticity, and it can be quite a process. I will refer to my child as C, and will speak of the gender that he was assigned at birth. I was an old mom at 38 plus. I gave birth and did not realize when I gave birth to C that I would also bear many expectations, both conscious and unconscious, for my baby. For example, consciously, my husband and I set out to raise our daughter as a strong woman who would be seen and heard, who would not be categorized or limited, who could become anything she'd want to be, even the president of the United States. We said no to pink, dressed her and decorated her nursery in primary colors. The unconscious expectations were embedded in the conscious ones and became clear later on. So starting at about 8 years old, something in C shifted toward me, and her dad became the favored parent. And though she and I would snuggle and profess our love, our relationship was marked with struggle. I seemingly could do nothing right. She refused my overtures, resisted my feedback, encouragement, and mediation, blew up at me often. Rejections and I hate yous were par for the course. And I figured, well, that's great. I have the ego to sustain it. We'll get over it. And friends assured me that when it's tough during elementary school, the teenage years are better. So I hung in. And the teen years, though, were more of the same. C was willing to see a counselor, which we arranged, and I got one too. During those years, neither C nor I nor my husband nor our therapists had language for the dissonance, the confusion, the collision of powerful unnamed feelings that our precious child was experiencing. The pain just got all acted out in our home and the safety of our home and the safety of our relationship. At college, C finally found their people and the language that was so critically needed. So during junior year, C came out to my husband and me as trans, and it was a shock. Characteristically, C was straightforward and explained that this was his truth, and he clarified we had work to do on our own to learn about what we didn't know. He would not be our teacher. On the other hand, he was gracious and stated that he would not pressure us to get the pronouns right away. And we were quite grateful for that. My husband and I were silent much of the way home, speaking the occasional awareness, asking the occasional question, united in our respective absorbing of this news, along with the sense that everything would change, though we didn't know what it would mean or how it would happen or what it would look like. Our transition was beginning. Fortunately, I had a colleague who was a trans man, and so when I got back to work, I went right to him, asking his advice. Out of his own experience of rejection by his mother, he shared that the single most important thing was to stay connected with C. I knew gratefully that would be a no-brainer for us. I also reached out to PFLAG and to friends, and we've heard today how important community is to all of us. And I was inspired by my dearest Dutch friend, T, of blessed memory, whose wisdom I'm going to share later. We also sought support from some family counseling sessions that helped us learn language and what our family's dynamics and particular issues were and still are. The most effective help, however, came from an online support group for parents whose children are trans family. I don't know if it still exists. It went from Yahoo group to Facebook group. Its moderators were social workers, counselors, therapists by vocation, and all were parents of trans men and trans women. They were fonts of knowledge, compassion, and kindness, and they encouraged us to express to each other online what they advised we absolutely not express to our children: our ignorance, our questions, our feelings. The words of George Eliot describe my experience of trans family and perhaps your experience of your safe spaces. Oh, the comfort, the inexpressible comfort of feeling safe with a person, having neither to weigh thoughts nor measure words, but pour them all out just as they are, chaff and grain together, knowing that a faithful hand will take and sift them, keep what is worth keeping, and then with a breath of kindness, blow the rest away. With a breath of kindness, the chaff of my life was blown away, not only by moderators, but by other members as well, parents who had stood in the place I was standing. In that community, I learned the difference between sexuality and gender. I confronted my self-centered notion that it had been my fault, that knee-jerk reaction of us mothers about our kids, and which the world puts on us most of the time, and which unfairly moved the attention to me away from C. I learned there was no fault here. In this safe space, my unconscious assumptions and expectations for C got exposed, and I recognized I had to give them up. They were in the way of my seeing C for who he was and is. Letting them go was just a matter of crying, of grieving, of letting them go, and they're gone. Importantly, I learned that I could not go it alone. Indeed, going without support or community would mean certain failure. And I didn't know it all. I don't know it all, even about my own child. And I needed and still need the mirror others hold up, along with their wisdom and support and understanding. I am still in process. I have to admit, I'm a little ashamed to say that I had this expectation that I should have it all together. That's BS. But the shame is that on a visit with C this past weekend, I misgendered him more than once. Oh my God, it was horrible. I was shocked. He was hurt. But we talked. I apologized. We moved on. The most important thing that I learned was what would change and what would not change in the transition that C underwent. What would change would be his outer manifestation. What would not change was who he was, his personality. Since transition, C is finally happy in his skin. Hallelujah. Everyone sees it. So in that way, change. But he is also still the Alka-Seltzer in the room, funny, honest, vulnerable, intense. He's kind and generous and industrious, engaging and in charge. And of course, life is not all rainbows and lollipops. I mean, there's still struggles. There's always going to be struggles. That's life for C, for me, for all of us. But who C is and can be has been deepened and broadened out of the freedom of not being limited by a body that did not fit, that was not right. And the best part was he wanted us in on it to get to know him, all of him. I love the mystery that what my husband and I consciously wanted for him is what C is. Someone whose voice is heard, who would not be categorized or limited, who will become anything he wants to be. It just didn't happen as we imagined. Along the way, we discovered we need a village of friends and companions and supports and good, just to be good enough parents. Thank goodness we found them. Now I'll close with the wisdom from my beloved T, whom I went to, and she challenged and grounded me with her vision. She was a priestly and prophetic one. She saw as holy and courageous the journey of C and our trans siblings and non-binary siblings claiming their authentic selves. They are boldly confronting, you, trans and non-binary persons are boldly confronting society, our ingrown binary, us, them, rich, poor, gay, straight, in, out, fat, thin, right, wrong, our dualistic ways of thinking and categorizing, and the death-dealing limits of such dividing. Trans folks and non-binary people, you are ultimately modeling for all of us how to live and how to love, loving yourselves in all your complexities from the inside out, and loving others as they truly are, not because of how they appear or if they conform to what society expects of them. May we all stand together in courage and let go of our hold on ways that divide us and become how we are meant to be as you all are, loving and belonging to one another and free. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally, so much. I really appreciate it. And you know how this goes, but my last question for you, of course, is what are you doing to create joy for yourself?
Well, we live on Lake Erie, and that is a gorgeous thing every single day. But I also love my friends and films and being with my husband. And we went bowling with Carter, with C, and his wife on Saturday, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing your vulnerability and just sharing sort of perspective of parents navigating any of this that I don't know that any of us expect it to be perfect, but that you're trying is far more important and that you continue to work on it. So thank you for being here and jumping into a completely unknown thing and coming with us anyway. So I
I
appreciate it.
so much being invited to do it. So
Yeah, thanks, Sally.